Welcome to Who Yelling Now, Season 4, Episode 8, titled When Truth Becomes Performative. Copyright Mackenzie. Before I traveled outside the United States, I believed I understood the world. Not consciously, not arrogantly, but internally. When I listened to the news on the radio, just audio of course, I saw the story in my mind. If the segment was about drug trafficking, I saw faces. If it was about immigration, I saw neighborhoods. If it was about protests, I saw the crowd. I did not choose these images. They arrive fully formed. Accents, skin tones, clothing, posture. Truth, in my mind, had a costume, and it performed correctly. Until I left. Until I listened to the same kinds of stories in other countries. Until I opened my eyes and realized I had been casting roles in a global story using a script written in one nation. And I was brutally wrong most of the time. I realized I carried with me bigotry, prejudices, expectations, not global, not universal, taught, absorbed, unquestioned. And truth, when it did not match my expectations, felt suspicious. That is when I first understood truth becomes performance art when the audience requires it. My friends, here is a poem titled Cast in My Mind. I heard the story and I dressed it. I heard the crime and I guessed it. I heard the accent and I pressed it into a mold I never inspected. Truth came naked. I clothed it quickly. Truth came foreign. I renamed it swiftly. Truth did not fail me. I failed it because I needed it to look familiar. Fellow yellers, here's the dangerous part. The mind doesn't wait for details. It fills the silence. And once it fills it, it defends it. So, I'm going to tell you a story. And before I finish it, I want you to notice who shows up in your head. I call the story the miscast scene. Mother Agnes was enraged. Her son had been arrested for drunken misbehavior. While in police custody, something happened. She believed he had been humiliated. She believed he had been mistreated. She believed justice had been mocked. In fury, she placed an explosive device inside the sheriff's car. Her beloved son found out in time. He ran with his father. They sprinted towards the vehicle to stop the sheriff from entering it. The sheriff, remembering the earlier altercation with Agnes, saw two men running towards him. He drew his weapon. He fired. My friends, now pause. Before I continue, describe them. In your mind, what did Agnes look like? Was her hair dark? Light? Covered? Was she loud? Was she trembling? Was she hardened? What did her son look like? Was he young? Aggressive? Broken? Maybe he was entitled. How about the father? Was he silent? Was he shouting? The sheriff, was he calm, panicked, seasoned, hostile? What color were their hands? What neighborhood did you place them in? What country? See, you didn't wait for me. You didn't need a screen or my descriptions on these characters. You cast the roles instantly. Now I'm going to tell you where this story took place. This happened in Iceland. Yes, Iceland. Not in a place you imagine when you hear bomb. Not in a place you imagine when you hear drunken arrest. Not in a place you imagine when you hear sheriff draws weapon. Iceland. Yup. The story did not change. Only the casting did. Did your sympathy shift? Did your certainty wobble? Did the emotional temperature change? Truth did not fail you. Your expectations did. And that is how truth becomes performative. It must look the way we expect. If it does not, we question it. We soften it. We reframe it. We call it rare. We call it out of character. We call it not representative. What we mean is it didn't perform correctly. And when truth refuses to perform, we look for a different stage. I was 19 when I first noticed this. Not in theory, not in a classroom, in real time, in the space between hearing and seeing. In the split second my mind filled in the faces before the facts did. Here is a poem I call Mostly True. Written for Agnes and you. It happened That part is true. A mother grieved. That part is true. A bomb was placed. That part is true. Shots were fired. That part is also true. But the truth without casting feels unstable. Truth without costume feels dangerous. So we adjust the lighting. We soften the angle. We edit the tone. Not to lie, just to make it fit. Because if truth refuses to perform, the audience revolts. My faithful listeners, here's a stage we choose. As I traveled, I had to unlearn. Not because other countries were better, no, but because my mind was not neutral. It was rehearsed. When I stopped looking at the television, I wrote my own script. When I opened my eyes, I realized the world was not auditioning for me, not for my comfort. Truth becomes performative when we demand it align. When we choose friends, co-workers, news sources that perform truth the way we expect. When empathy trends, but actions does not. When knowing feels like participation, and participation feels like change. If truth earns engagement instead of consequence, it becomes art. Beautiful, shareable, safe, but harmless. And harmless truth is the most successful performance of all. Here is a secret just for you, friends, to think on. The real Mother Agnes was a devoted Buddhist. This has been Who Yelling Now? See you in the next episode.